Hello, welcome to Red Table Model Reviews. Today I wanted to show you the MAN TGX in 1/19 scale by Premium Classixxs. This is a fairly new release from the beginning of 2021. It is a very big model. It weighs around 3.5 kilos, really big. And also, it is not such a variety on the market. I think from the newer trucks, it's only this one and the ones from NZG that are significantly more expensive. I think like twice as expensive as this one, so around 300 euros. Those one you can get for 130 to 160 euros. And also you have a Renault Magnum by Z Models. For around 100 to 120 euros, which I also own, and I think it's absolutely fantastic model. So I will try to a little bit compare those two, because I know that the Magnum is pretty popular. So starting in the front, I think that the front is made really good, really true to detail. The only problem I have with it is, you have those little silver railings and the auxiliary lights. The lights themselves are pretty okay. What I do have problem with is, this silver rails that are made from really cheap plastic, and also those horns. You can feel that they are pretty cheap. Here also, honestly, I would prefer that they didn't include them, and leave the truck as it is, as it comes from the factory, and it would make much better impression. Unfortunately, you cannot remove them because you will get holes in the body. But apart from that, from the outside, it looks really nice. The paint is applied very nice, whether it's on plastic part or a die-cast part. It has the same shade, so from that perspective, I would say it's very impressive. The lights are very good, very detailed. Maybe a slight comment here: the windscreen wipers aren't that well made. Also, those handlebars here, they should have openings here. And for example, on Magnum by Z models, those openings are there, so that's a little disadvantage. Also, the antennas are made from really cheap plastic. You can see also the molding marks in the middle, so that's also a little bit disappointing, but I guess you can see it only when you look at the model really close. So let's look at the back. At the back, there's obviously not as much detail. The chassis of the model is, of course, it's metal. Also, the gas tanks are made out of metal. However, the wheel arches are plastic, which is actually as it is in a true truck. However, on a Magnum by Z models, those are made out of metal, which I prefer, because of that, the weight of the model is distributed more evenly. Here you can see that almost all the weight is on the front, and the back is pretty light. Also, when you have such a heavy model, you have to be careful how you pick it. And of course, when you have this wheel arches out of metal, it's easier to pick it by the whole back. Here you have to be very careful to only pick it up by chassis. Also, you can see here that there is a lot of detail. However, the detail, it's the for example, in one mold done like some parts molded in one piece of plastic. I personally would prefer to have it like less detailed, but for example 3 separate parts. You can also see here there are wirings for the trailer and a lot of details, but only on one piece of plastic. In Z models, Magnum, those are just 2 wires and that's all, and I think it looks neater than than something like that. Apart from that, you can see on the back taillights are pretty okay. Those parts should be rubber. There are plastic. Those skirts. Actually, I was pretty surprised in Z model Magnum that those were rubber. Here they are from plastic. I think pretty okay, but as you can see, they are pretty flimsy. Could have been done better, but not a big deal. Now let's come to for me the biggest drawback of this model, which actually might be surprising for you, because when I was buying this model I thought this will be a huge advantage. So it has a suspension. So obviously you think when you have a suspension that's better, I have a more accurate model, but the problem with the suspension is it's really easy and really simple design without wishbones or anything like that. And the problem is with such heavy model, it doesn't work very well. So for example, you can see that when I'm moving the model, the front wheels are moving back and forth, which obviously should not be happening. When the model arrived to me, it also wasn't even, so one part of the model was a little bit more to the ground than the other, and obviously even if it's 1 millimeter here on one side, because the model is 25 centimeters high, it really does look crooked a little bit. Of course you can fix that with tempering a little bit with the springs. I did it in the rear suspension because the access to the springs is really easy. You can just get a screwdriver and then screw. I don't know if it's visible, but you can get with a screwdriver and like screw a little bit the springs and everything will be fine. Of course you can do it also in the front, but for that you would need to remove the cabin, which obviously is not as easy. So yeah, pretty straightforward fix, but should have if had they done stiff suspension, so like for example, as I've mentioned, Z model Magnum, it was in theory simpler design, but it simply works better. I'm also pretty afraid that over time it will lay down in a cabinet for a few years, and the wheels will start to wobble more. They already wobble pretty much, and they will go sideways, etc. So with such heavy model, I would honestly prefer to either have a complicated suspension. Obviously it would make model much more expensive, or I would prefer to have just a stiff suspension, so it would just have its role better. So in the end, let's look to the inside. I don't know if you will be able to see it, which is a shame, because the inside of the model, so inside of the cabin, is absolutely fantastic. I was not expecting it to be so detailed. It has a really nice two-tone dashboard. It has the sleeping area inside. It has really a lot of windows. You can see there are 3 windows each side plus the roof window. Unfortunately it's not lit from inside like the NZG models, but honestly you can just get a mobile phone light or like a torch and lit up the inside by the roof window, and it looks fantastic. Small drawback is the fact that even though the wheels are steerable, you can steer them, the steering wheel does not turn. Those are not connected. This is not any flaw of the model. Simply it was not designed to be so. Not a big issue for me. you probably know when you collect a lot of diecast cars that even if those are connected, usually it works so poorly that it doesn't make a big difference if they are not connected. But you know, just so you know. You can see also that on the steps, oh, you can see it was wobbly a bit. On the steps there are a bit of perforated sheet metal. Of course it's plastic, but it looks really nice. However, it's only on the first step. In reality, of course, the steps that are covered by the door are also perforated. Here it's just a simple flat plastic, but you know, at this price point, I think it's totally understandable, and I do not hold it against Premium Classixxs. So, I think that will be all. Generally, even though I found a little bit of things I don't like about this model, I generally definitely recommend it. It's really good for this price. It's really nice, it's really huge. You really need to think where to put it, because it's much bigger than you think it is, unless you already have a few trucks in 1/18th scale. Of course, some things that may need improvement. For example, when from future models from Premium Classixxs, but generally, I'm very pleased with my purchase. And yeah, please leave a comment, subscribe, and let me know if you like this model as much as I did. Yeah, thank you, and see you next time.